easy for us to be tricked or fooled, okay, by, stuff that people are putting out that isn't necessarily true.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And that's, again, this is why what you said earlier is so true, because the only thing you're going to have to rely on when it comes to truth is your own inner guidance system.
That's right.
All right?
Yep.
And I have to be particularly careful when I scan stuff because I'm gullible. I really kind of want to believe everything.
Yeah,
I want it all to be good, but some of this stuff that people are saying is good is not that good.
Right, exactly. And it does seem that my own take on things was a little bit more accelerated. I thought that by now there would be a little bit more of a break in the rigid control system that they have, the Illuminati has with the Matrix in terms of controlling the information sources and, the information that we get. But apparently that's not happening yet. So they may be holding out to the very last nanosecond.
Well, this is what I have heard.
Yeah,
okay, and we may have had this, we may have talked about this before. I remember it was back last fall, and we were getting ready to do a big workshop here. We were setting up the day before. Drumbolo walks in, and he asks me how I'm doing. I'm saying, I feel great. I feel like I'm so excited about this workshop. He said, I am too, because tomorrow, the day that it starts, is the first day of the last battle between the dark and the light brotherhood. And that was November 8th last year. All right, now, I don't know how long these battles go on, but since that time, the guys that aren't being totally transparent about their motives and their interests, have been going full bore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't even believe the extent to which they're going nuts trying to just, make themselves right. And again, Drumbolo's my teacher. I'm very fortunate to be working with him. He does know more about what's going on right now than anybody on the planet. And he said, this is what always happens when it gets to this point. They don't stop fighting until the bitter end, and they always lose.
Yeah.
Okay, and this conversation that he had with, somebody who's been sort of like affiliated with that team, the guy said, that's the absolute truth. I don't know why we do it. Everybody knows how it's going to end up. The light always prevails.
Right.
Okay, but they don't, what I finally figured out is they do not know how to do anything else.
Yeah.
All right. And
it makes sense.
And I guess that's okay. One of the things that I'm trying to do now is I'm trying not to judge the darkness.
Right.
Because you see, that kind of amplifies it.
Right.
And by that, I'm not trying to turn a blind eye to it, but I'm just saying, okay, I know you're there. I know a little bit about what you're up to. I really can't say I know all about it because it's so confusing. But it's okay with me if you want to keep doing what you do. But what I would love is if you would be transparent about it, you see?
Yeah.
Because if everybody was sort of playing with the same deck, then we could get something done here, and people could decide whether they wanted to go along with your program or not.
Right. Well, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Well,
that is the nature of that side, to work in secrecy. And
yes, I know. Everything is totally secret, but what's interesting to me is they're kind of like blowing their own cover. All kinds of things, like this whole thing that happened with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Okay, I know this sounds like superficial mainstream gossip, but, when Arnold Schwarzenegger's whole marriage broke up and that whole thing with the secrecy around his affairs and all that kind of stuff, I mean, how much do you know about, his quote unquote bond with Maria Shriver? And
Right.
And her affiliations, I mean, those people are like 100% Illuminati.
Right.
Okay, all of them.
Right.
I'm sorry,
right.
you know what I mean? They're on that team. Christ, Arnold Schwarzenegger was born and bred, to be who he is.
You're right.
And I know a little bit about that because I used to be, like a whacked-out, fanatical bodybuilder when I was young. So I was a big fan of his, and his whole story of he was born and bred in Austria and raised on nothing but goat's milk, and there's this whole weird kind of Superman kind of thing associated with Arnold. But anyhow, I don't want to get off on that subject, but there's a lot of kind of like things, covers that are getting blown. And I have a feeling there's a lot of covers getting blown right now, even if you just look at what's going on with Oprah Winfrey. All right, now she is one of the most mind-controlled people on the planet. And what's interesting to me now is what are they going to do about her? Because all of her handlers are busy doing other things. She broke up with Stedman. Okay? So what's going to happen when that lady comes out from underneath her programming?
Well, that could be interesting.
Yeah, would she really be able to do something to help people? Because I see the stuff that she's dishing out as, basically she's selling Prozac. Her show to me is like Prozac for the masses who just want to tune in and have a little feel-good time, And there's a lot of stuff that she conveys that's really useful to people, but it doesn't get them anywhere in terms of their evolution. It just makes them feel a little better,
Right.
But she was never really intended to bring people on her show who would actually enlighten anybody.
Right.
And she could do that. She has the power
to do that.
Yeah.
Well, it would take some kind of dramatic shift, and that takes us back to the cycles that you mentioned. These are all openings, especially when we align with the galactic center, because that is something that may be a foreshadowing for us or a taste of what's coming in 2012 if we're still here, because that is an exact alignment, as I understand it.
Yes, it is. It's close. It's within an orb of a conjunction to the galactic center, and the other interesting thing is that the eclipse that happens on the 1st is going to be happening very close to the planet Pluto. All right, now that's kind of trippy, because what'll be happening on the day of that eclipse is Pluto will be in direct opposition to it. And that planet has a lot to say about what's going on right now, because relative to the Earth's horoscope, it is moving back and forth over the base or the point where the Mother Earth is rooted into the rest of the universe. If you want to really look at it, what I would say, what I would predict based on what little I know right now, is at the point when Pluto in transit moves over the eclipse degree. All right, because it won't be quite there. And I double checked on the. Let me just double check on the on the degree of the eclipse, because I was talking to an astrologer last night, and she was telling me, it's 9 degrees Capricorn. All right, and I said, no, it's 5 degrees Capricorn. That's where the eclipse is going to happen. So, June, where are we? Okay. No, it's July 1st. All right, so the sun's going to be, I was right. I was right. Okay, so it's going to be, 8 degrees of Cancer. I'm sorry.
8 degrees
right now, right now Pluto's at 6 degrees of Capricorn. And so my sense is that when Pluto gets to 8 degrees Capricorn, there is going to be a shift. That will not be until January of 2012.
Huh.
Okay, now there is another interesting thing that's going to be happening at that point, is that Uranus, which is the change maker, and Uranus is the one that rules the Heyokas and the presence of the ETs and the outside help and this potential for an instantaneous consciousness awakening on the part of the masses. Okay, this planet is going to be moving over the point that governs all of that stuff. Okay, and that will be in the month of January 2012, and anywhere from the 1st of January till the end of January, early February next year, is going to be at a very important time. Now, we can predict that, but because, quite honestly, I do not know anything about eclipses. All right? And I was given instructions. Strumvalo gave me instructions about 2 weeks ago. He said, figure this out. He said, I want you to figure this out. And so I have been reading everything I can get my hands on and trying to just look at it from my own perspective and try to just see it, if I can figure out how to find a metaphor for how those things work.
Right.
But they're very involved, and my sense is that anybody who really wanted to study them would have to go into the Mayan information, because a lot of their stuff, they have different types of cycles, but they have a very fixed sort of 20-year cycle. Okay, that is uniform, and it coincides exactly with the way the eclipse cycles work.
Okay. And of course...
So anyhow, that's where I'm at with it, and I can't tell you too much. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay, because there's plenty else to talk about, because here we are now, according to Carl Kalaman anyway, in the third day of the ninth wave, which is the final wave of the Mayan calendar.
Okay, does that stretch out till November or October?
October.
Okay.
And then, now here's the thing that I'm wondering about. I just recently noticed some buzz about Comet Elenin. And there's a lot of theorizing that the orbit of Comet Elenin is due to pass within Earth's orbit between the Earth and the Sun just about the same date as the end of the ninth wave. It's around the end of October, and that there will be 2 or 3 days of darkness, which you have mentioned before, and so have many others.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and many are saying that this might be Nibiru, Planet X, or whatever you want to call it, that has been foretold. I mean, it's the only logical candidate, and that every time it passes by, it creates earthquakes, and it's been far enough away in millions of miles to not do too much damage yet. But if it passes between the Earth and the Sun, and it has a tail and it's whipping around, I can only guess that that's got to do something.
Well, you know, I have been hearing about this comet for the longest time. I have no opinion on it. But I listen to people. What I notice about the whole comet idea is that it's a guy thing.
That's funny.
I don't know why that is. I mean, for what reason? But this is, you know, and Christ, we've been talking about the comet for the last 10 years. And so it's something like I never got into Sitchin's work. Okay, I never got into it, and I feel like a total, loser because I can't have this discussion without, just talking through my hat. But what I wonder about, what they're saying about the comet, is if it coincides with the Hopi predictions of the red star. And I'm not sure exactly,
Right.
what color a comet